You're living in the HDB. I would say it's rare for foreigners. How you decide about HDB?
Sure.
And should foreigners be afraid of living in HDB?
Yeah, do not come to an HDB, please. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it for me. Why did we come to an HDB? Out of necessity. You know, we arrived. Before we came to Singapore, my wife, they spent a lot of time going onto all sorts of websites to find the ideal place that we were going to stay. And we had this list of properties that we were going to rent and live this idyllic kind of lifestyle. Just before we arrived here, all of the properties vanished from the internet. There were no longer any apartments, at least in our price range, available. And our budget is pretty reasonable. We were looking at properties around $6,000 per month. So when we arrived in Singapore, it was panic stations because the price of rent had skyrocketed. Friends that I had that have lived here previously, they were telling me, don't worry, for that kind of budget, you're going to find a lovely place with a lovely pool, X, Y, and Z. But when we actually got here, reality set in, and all of the properties that we looked at that were within our price range, frankly, they were a horror show. Like the kind of places that you wouldn't want to swim in the pool. You'd have to get your tetanus booster pretty soon after that. We didn't know what HDBs were. We'd not heard of them. Then we heard that they were social housing. Now, coming from the UK, social housing, it's not anyone's dream destination to live, is the reality. It's synonymous with crime, with danger, with a lot of negativity. Whether or not that is true or false, I don't know. But it's not a place on anyone's priority list to want to live. Our understanding when we came here was that foreigners could not live in HDB buildings. And again, I don't know if that was intentional on the part of some of these property sites. Maybe not to mislead, but to make the information not immediately obvious that foreigners could. So we started filtering after we'd already visited, I'm going to say about 15 condos. And nothing that was suitable for us. Then we started filtering for HDBs, and suddenly, oh my goodness, the game changed. And the first one we saw was in Bukit Batok, and it was lovely. And it was much, much nicer than the condos that we'd been visiting. So then we just started relentlessly visiting more and more HDBs until my wife woke me up, probably about 2 o'clock in the morning in our hotel, and said, honey, look at this, I found the perfect place. And I looked at it and she said, guess how much? And I said, oh, it's got to be 8,000 at least a month. And they said, no, it's less than 4,000. Like, shut up. So the next day we contacted the agent and then we made an appointment. We visited here and oh my goodness, like, talk about quality, design, space, everything. It's been absolutely fantastic. Our first impression from visiting this from day one was absolutely, this is where foreigners that don't have, let's say, 10,000 plus budget should absolutely consider. We're lucky, we're in a new build. Getting into a new build as a foreigner is not easy. It's got to be a really particular set of circumstances. And so we were really, really fortunate to move into a brand new property, really spacious, really modern, and well within our budget as well.